What up, Ho Biscuits? It's your girl Skitten, back at it again. So I have been out of work for 2 months, 2.5 months now. And yeah, by the time this video comes out, I think it'll have been like 2.5 months. And I feel like it's gonna be really hard for me to go back if I ever end up going back, if my state ever like completely opens up again. But I feel like it's gonna be really hard for me to go back. Like, my sleep schedule is completely screwed. Like, I go to bed at like 6 in the morning and don't wake up until like 2 p.m. And like, my eating habits are different. Like, everything is just super different. I feel like it's gonna be so hard for me to go back. But you know who is having the opposite of that problem is our essential workers. I would just like to say thanks to y'all for existing and being great and working so damn hard. And I know people are treating you bad. I know people are just treating you so poorly, and I'm so sorry. And I would just like for it to be known that when I see it, I talk about it out loud, very loudly, so that the people who are treating y'all poorly can hear me and be embarrassed and shut the fuck up. And more people should do that, honestly. Honestly, like, if you see somebody treating an essential worker poorly, do not just stand there and watch it happen. I have a family friend. She's a healthcare worker, actually, and this lady started like being so mean to her outside of Walmart, and people just like watched it happen, you know? And my family friend is a wonderful and dignified woman, and so she did not throw hands as I feel like she deserved to. But like, if y'all see that shit happening, don't just let it happen. Come on. Like, let's stand up for the people who are working hard, you know, during this whole quarantine and risking themselves and their families, you know? And I say all of that because we are here to watch the Odd Ones Out stories about working at Sooubway. And I just feel like it's gonna be a bunch of unfortunate things. And this happened, this video is from 2016, so I'm assuming that these stories happened prior to that. And I just know it's so much worse, you know, currently during this whole pandemic thing. So I would just like to say, love you, appreciate you, and without further ado, let's get started on the video.
I think that everyone at some point in their life should work in a fast food or retail job.
Agreed.
Not to improve their work ethic or anything, but so that everyone knows what it's like to have that kind of job. They wouldn't work in fast food their whole lives, maybe just like for 6 months, just so they get a feel for it. So with that, let's talk about the time when I worked in fast food. I used to work at a very small local sandwich shop. I don't know if any of you guys heard of it. It's called Sooubway. Our spokesperson was in the news recently. I don't know if you guys look at the news. Did you hear he got beat up in jail? I kind of want to meet the person who beat up Jared more than Jared. Not in person. Right. We wouldn't meet in person, obviously. But like, he would be behind bars, and I would just look at the guy who beat up my spokesperson.
Right.
How many people get to say that they beat up a fast food icon who is also a pedophile? Only one, and it's that guy. Okay, but seriously guys, working at Sooubway was probably one of the most easiest jobs out there. I don't know why I'm about to complain about it to you guys. We got free cookies. And you know the comic with the Subways in Hell? I was actually working at Sooubway when I made that comic. I just think it adds sort of a little bit of value to it. You see, the owners, who are husband and wife, can you believe it, of the Sooubway I worked at owned 2 stores. One of the Sooubway stores was in a Walmart on an Indian reservation, because we have those in Arizona, and the other Sooubway was the Sooubway I worked at. And since the Walmart store was always busy, the owners would spend 99% of their time at that store. So I didn't really have a boss most of the time. On the off chance the owners did show up, they would just pick up some food and then they would make sure I was making sandwiches the right way. And every time I made a sandwich in front of them, they would always find something wrong with it, without fail. You put on too many olives. Do you know, according to the Sooubway formula, you're only supposed to put on 8 olives on a foot long? 8! One for every other bite. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, olives are gross, so, you know, take that number down to 0 and you have the right number. But also, that seems like an absurdly low amount. But it also explains why when I ask for extra things, I don't really get extra things at Sooubway. It like ends up being like a normal amount.
I usually worked the closing shift, and at the end of the night, we would turn the alarm and we'd have 60 seconds to get out of the store. But one time I had the opening shift, so I unlocked the door to get in with my key, and the alarm went beep, beep, meaning I had 60 seconds to turn it off. No big deal, right? I've turned the alarm on all the time when I was closing. So I go to the little control panel and I type in the code and nothing happens. The beeping is still there and the clock is still ticking down. So I go, okay, I'm going to press each button very carefully. I'm going to make sure each button makes a beep when I press it.
Right.
Beep, beep, beep. Nothing still happens. So I go, okay, I'm going to make sure to press each button very carefully. And I start thinking, did they change the passcode without telling me? Well, this is the only passcode I know, so we're just going to try it again. And I press each button very carefully. Beep, beep, beep. And it goes quiet. And then the alarm goes off. I still had like 20 seconds left. But I guess when you get it wrong 3 times, it automatically assumes that you're a burglar. So while the alarm is going off, I look on the contact sheet for the owner's cell phone number. I step outside, I call him, and he doesn't pick up. So I go back inside, find the number for the other Subway store. They open an hour before we do. Someone picks up with their stupid voice. Oh, thank you for calling Subway. I'm blah, 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 blah. How may I help you? And I go, hey, is Mike there? That's not his real name, guys, don't worry. And they go, just a minute. Yeah, sure, I have all the time in the world. The cops might be on their way, but take your time.
It's fine, it's cool.
Mike picks up. Yellow. Hey, Mike, this is James. What's the passcode for the alarm? Who is this? It's James. What's the passcode? What are you doing there, James? Why aren't you answering the question? I have the opening shift. Is the alarm going off? Yeah, no one told me the new code. Yeah, we changed it. It's the last 4 digits of your social security number. Oh, okay, thanks, Mike. I don't know my social security number. So I finally get the alarm off. No one showed up, thankfully. Which I actually don't know if that's a good thing or not. We did have a store manager who would like make the schedule and sometimes tell us, hey, can you guys do a better job at your job? But other than that, she was cool. She watches my videos and so do her little brothers. They're big fans. Shout out to Ivan and Andy. Those are the brothers.
Cute.
So get this, at Subway, you only work with one other person. Just you and them in an empty Subway for 5 hours.
Now that I think about it, I don't know if I've ever seen more than 2 people in a Subway. But Chavez and I usually go to Subway like super late at night. Like we'll go at 2 in the morning when they're like, there's one person there and they like don't need anybody else because we're the only people who have shown up for the past 4 hours.
I mean, we weren't like empty all the time, okay? And when you're not making sandwiches, you have other stuff to do, like stocking the chips or we had stuff to do. But okay, we did watch a lot of Netflix and do homework, so I mean, it was that other person you worked with would make or break your entire shift. It wasn't the annoying customers. I kind of got used to annoying customers. So I worked with a lot of crappy people. And I also worked with a lot of people who I would probably never become friends with except in a work setting. You see, you gotta understand the type of people who got jobs at Subway. Potheads. Most of them are potheads. And some of them are really cool. I'm just going to go over a couple of the characters that I worked with.
Yes.
There's Tyler. I freaking love this guy. He smoked a lot of weed. He actually taught me what vaping was, and he got me into Clash of Clans. I actually mentioned
Sorry.
him and his girlfriend in my riddles video. I don't know if I ever told him that. And of course I have to mention Corey. He was cool. We watched How to Get Away with Murder on Netflix, and I've also hung out with him outside of work. What him and Tyler had in common is that they would actually do their job, which you gotta appreciate. Then there was this guy, and get this, who was also named Jared, and he was fat. I know, right? He's like Jared before. He loved marble, and that's like the only thing he would talk about. I can say these things. He doesn't watch my videos. There was Sarah. She was cool. She made me a bread bowl. And her boyfriend, Jay. He talked about chakras and third eyes. He was interesting.
That's
and also,
cute.
there's Anthony. He's cool. What's up, Anthony? For the 100,000 sprinkles video, I actually went back to Subway to use their scale because I knew they had one. And we counted 500 sprinkles again just to be more accurate for the 100,000. And Anthony helped me count instead of working. I mean, at least he got paid minimum wage for it. So 2 more stories before I go. One time, Jared asked me to take out this pile of trash, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just put this pile of trash in the dumpster. And as I was taking it out, I saw that there was a chip poster in the pile, and I thought, this is too cool to throw away. I'm gonna keep it. So I took it home with me, and then the next day when I went in, people were saying, oh, where's the chip poster? We can't find the chip poster. We haven't seen it anywhere. And I'm thinking, I have the poster. I decided not to tell anyone that I had the poster. And it's still hanging up in my room. Sorry, boss, if you're finding out about this now. Okay, and then the other story, I was working with a manager and we were just making sandwiches like usual. And I noticed that when we toasted a sandwich, it would burn the paper a little on the edges. That probably shouldn't be happening. So then a customer asks for just bacon toasted, and the boss lady puts some bacon on paper and then puts it in the toaster.
And
we don't have a setting
fire
for just bacon. So then when she opens the toaster, there was a fire on the bacon. So then she starts to whack it with the little metal tray thing, but all she ended up doing was fanning the flames, making the fire bigger.
Oh my God.
You got this, right? Then I went in the back and I got the fire extinguisher and I actually used it. I single-handedly saved that Sooubway.
Good job,
Wait,
James.
What have I done? Is it okay if the bacon's a little crispy?
No!
And has nitrogen and carbon dioxide stuff on it? Wow, I didn't even mention a single bad customer.
All right, that was really entertaining, and I think I'm going to continue on with the series. I firmly agree that everybody should have to work in the food and beverage industry or the retail industry at least one time. Just because, like, the amount of sheer stupidity, like, I just feel like if you just took those stupid people and you put them on the other side of the counter, maybe they will be less stupid when they go other places. And I know that means I have a lot of faith in humanity that probably shouldn't exist, but we gotta start somewhere, guys, okay? We can't just keep letting stupid people be stupid for the sake of the customer's always right. Like, it's not working out. It's not working, okay? Let me know your experiences working as a food and beverage and or retail worker down in the comments below. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And other than that, peace out, Ho Biscuits. It's Skittin' Lit.